Come on in here. I have something to tell you. We had a wonderful tea time with First Lady Jamila Dotson, and we want to invite you to come out next week to join us for another episode of Tea Time. Yeah, you know what this is right here? It's a tea bag. Tea bags are full of herbs and spices, and when you drop this tea bag into a hot, boiling teacup of water, you get this wonderful medley of flavors. And that's what we do on Wednesdays at 6:15. We have tea time. Next week, we have a wonderful topic to explore. It relates to women and our differences and our walk with God. So join us next week as we sip on this tea and learn a little more about ourselves and learn a little more about what God requires of us. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jesus. You provide the fire, and I'll provide the sacrifice. You provide your spirit, then I will open up inside. If you provide your fire, then I'll provide the sacrifice. If you provide your spirit, I will open up inside. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up. If you provide the fire, then I'll provide the sacrifice. You provide your spirit, then I will open up inside. If you provide your fire, then I'll provide the sacrifice. If you pour out your spirit, I will open up inside. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up. If you provide the fire, then I'll provide the sacrifice. If you pour out your spirit, then I will open up inside. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God. Fill more of you. Jesus, I just need more of you.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning, New Life. Good morning, good morning. I hope you guys enjoyed that praise and worship. Man, I missed that worship right there, man. That girl could sing. You remember, y'all, in the light of the new Coming to America that's out, right? Like, remember you dropped the mic, sexual chocolate. That's old school. Coming to America is one of my favorite movies, you know what I mean? Well, let me not say one of my favorite movies. It's my favorite movie of all time. So, now, but that girl could sing. Man, that praise and worship was off the hook. Did y'all enjoy that? Hope you did, because I did. Praise and worship she was good. Like, she was real good. She was real good. Let me know in the comments if you guys would like to see some more of her as we move forward. She was good. She was real good. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Mom. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Auntie Mary. Good morning, Pop. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. New Life friends and family, I want to welcome you guys all again today on this beautiful morning. Kind of cold outside, not too good. It's kind of gloomy, but it's all good. Just want to say good morning to everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. Good morning, TT. Good morning. Good morning, Auntie. Auntie Kathy, good morning. Good morning. Sister Shiran, good morning. Good morning, Uncle Zoe. Uncle Zoe. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to all you guys. Good morning to New Life family in Texas. Good morning. I see you. Good morning. Hosting that watch party. New Life family in Atlanta. Mar, what's up, baby? I see you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You got one too? Yes, clean. Thank you. Yeah. Good morning. I just want to welcome you all. I thank you for joining us this morning. And again, I just all the support, everybody's love, and everything you guys just bring forward to the table. We couldn't do this without you. On behalf of me, my wife, and the leadership team, we thank you all for continuing to pour into our ministry with your prayers, your kind words, your love, all of it. We thank you. We thank you. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Without further ado, really quick, I hope you have your words with you. We're going to dive into this word. It's not going to be long. It's going to be powerful, though, something that you can get, something that we all been dealing with. It's something that I think and believe in my heart that is special to each and every one of us right now. If you do have your word, I'm asking you right now to turn to 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8. This is one of my favorite passages of Paul speaking. Auntie Mary, shout out to you because this is one of her favorite messages that I've spoken. Yeah, that's right. That I've preached before in the past. However, I found some new little points that I want to bring out that has been really like touching my heart. So, without further ado, thank you again. Good morning to everybody. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. New Life Christian Ministry. My name is Pastor Troy Dotson. I am the lead pastor. And we just thank you all for joining us. Thank you all from in town, out of town, everywhere. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We can't keep up with them. And we're going to be back in the building soon, baby. So this won't stop. We continue. Thank you for your donations. People always say, oh, you forgot to say me. If I forgot you individually, count into my head and not my heart. Went to Valley High, so blame my mom. What up, Mom? So just thank you guys all right? Without further ado, I've been kind of talking too long. Let's get into this word. 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians, you can find that after 1 Corinthians. That was a good one. That was my dad joke for the day. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8. We're going to probably go through 8 through 12, okay? 8 through 12, 8 through 12. All right. This is Apostle Paul speaking, and here we go. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed. Perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed. We always carry around the death of Jesus so that the life of Jesus may also be revealed in our body. For we are alive and we are always being given over to death for Jesus' sake, so that his life may be revealed in our mortal bodies. So death is at work in us, but life is at work in you. If you have your Bibles, this passage to me is very, very big. And it's something I wanted to introduce, that faith is something for me that has been a difficult struggle, something I've struggled with for a long time with my faith. And when I say struggle for a long time with my faith, it was something that was just, it was something that made me feel like how do you obtain faith? How do you get it? How does that work? How does it happen? How does it, you don't just wake up with faith, right? You don't just wake up and magically God just dumps all this faith into you. So I had to ask myself, and it was funny because someone had asked me, it was a simple question and I didn't have an answer to it. And I had to sit back a long time ago and think about it. Someone had asked me oh, I hear pastors preach about faith all the time and you got to have faith, you got to do this. But what about somebody who just began or just walking into church or maybe been dealing with something for a long time? How do you know your faith is growing? How do you pump fire into your faith? How do you get up under the weight and see your, yeah, I'm getting kind of slow. Yeah, I'll just play. See your faith get kind of, get stronger and be able to boast about it. One of the examples I want to use and to show you on how to allow your faith to grow, to help you exercise your faith, right? In order to get stronger, in order to get better at something, you want to practice it, you want to exercise it, you want to make sure that it is getting stronger. So let me show you an example in this passage on how this works, right? This was a letter written to Paul. This was a letter written by Paul, right? This was a letter written by Paul. This letter was written to the church. The problem that what was going on was there were people questioning Paul's authenticity. Is that how you say it? They wanted to know if he was authentic. I can't say the word, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean? So they wanted to know if he was authentic. Was his ministry authentic? Was he really the apostle that he say he was? They wanted to know his credentials, and they were questioning who Paul really was. And in this, I want to show you some things that Paul said that really struck a chord in me, because Paul could have stunned it on them. He could have let them know who he was, that he saw Jesus. He could have let him know all, but he chose not to take the boastful road, but he let it be known in a very subtle but humble way that, listen, this is how you know I'm with Christ. This is how you know I am who I say I am. And I want to point out some things in this text that show you how you can bolster and strengthen your faith. Let me show you what he says. He says some things in there. Paul made it very clear that some of the things he went through, how you know I'm real, how you know there ain't no fake in me, because I didn't quit. Whew. You're right there alone. He let it be known, I could have gave this up a long time ago. There ain't no quitting me. This ain't no walk for no punks. This ain't no walk for no soft. Somebody ain't got no back in your backbone. What Paul was saying in the very real way, that when life was at its toughest, I never gave up. When life had me pushed against the wall, when life had me ready to call it quits, I stayed the course. I never gave up. Paul could have used and said in a very real way, Paul could have said that, there's some issues going on with this camera. Paul could have said in a very real way that, listen, I could have gave up. I could have made it not happen, but I didn't. I chose not to. I chose not to give up. I chose not to let it happen. And this is what's going on right now. So let me go ahead and break this out in some ways. Listen to this. Listen to this. Paul makes it very clear that there's some things that were happening in his life. And there's some ways he could have looked at it, but he chose to walk in this thing we call faith. What does walking in faith look like? What does truly walking in faith look like when you're going through things in life and you don't know how to make it work? You don't know how to piece it all together. Let me show you what it looks like. Paul first, he starts to shout on one end. He first explains what happens to us, right? Then he speaks and shouts back and says, but he's glad that it didn't happen. And what Paul is saying in this text, in a very real way, what he's saying in this text is, what should have truly happened to us didn't really happen to us, and we should be excited and shouting over each and every scenario that we have been through. God has always given us a conjunction. You got to learn what a conjunction is, baby. I got that right there. I studied that right there. Ask my sister. What up, sis? She's a teacher, educator. Paul has always gave us a conjunction. He's always added a yet or a but. He gave us a yet or a but. And what I want to say in reading this, what he expresses to us is this: that although we walk in faith, and although that we are wounded, we are still survivors. If I had to put a title on this message today, it would be Wounded, but I'm still a survivor. Wounded, but I'm still a survivor. Because what Paul is saying in this very real way, that he's had some ups, he's had some downs, he's had some times where the normal person would have just walked away, but he survived it. Those who know me know I talk about Paul a lot. Even if you remember, Paul went through some issues. Remember, St. Paul the shipwreck. He got in the shipwreck and he got onto this thing, and after being shipwrecked, he got onto this island and got bit by a snake and wounded, but still a survivor. Is there anybody out there that can say that I've been wounded, but I'm a survivor? I've been hurt. I've been stepped on, I've been talked about, but I'm still a survivor. Let me show you textually how this can build your faith, because you start to look over your life and say, although I've been wounded in a lot of scenarios, I've been going through a lot of things in life, that's how you build your faith. You're able to look back over your life and you're able to say that although I'm wounded, God has always kept me from the worst case scenario. God has always kept me from the full totality of the situation that's happened in my life. God has always kept me from the full totality of that happening. Let me show you. What he says is, what you got to learn is Paul, he breaks this down in a very real way. And if you walk in a story the way you should, you read your story from left to right? In order to get through a story, you got to read from left to right. If you stay on the left side of the story, you'll never get to the right to understand how it ends. Sometimes we get captured and we start reading from left to right, but if you never find out, if you never keep going, if you stay on the left side, and I'm going to show you this, you'll never understand how the story fully ends. Let me give you an example. Paul, he speaks out on this, and he says, this is what he says. He shouts out on the left side, right? And he shouts out on the left side. What he does is he gives us that but. Think about that. He says, this is what he says. Listen to this. He says, we're hard pressed on every side, but we're not crushed. Perplexed, but we're not in despair. If you really look what he's saying is he's shouting out on the left side of the but. On the left side of the but, he says, we are wounded. That's what he's telling us. He's telling us on the left side of that but, he's saying we're wounded. But when he gets to the right side of the but, after the but, when he gets to the right side of it, he's saying, but we're survivors. I want you to catch that. Paul is saying on the left side of the but that we're wounded. On the right side of the but, he's saying, but we're survivors. Catch this, catch this, catch this. And if you ain't went to sleep yet, I applied that to my life and I was like, whoa, it's like looking at the glass half empty or half full. And I want you to catch this and then you tell me what side of the butt you're on. You know what I'm saying? Check this out. What he said was, on the left side of the butt, Paul says, we are hard pressed on every side. But he went over on the right side of the butt and he moved to the right side of the butt. He said, but we're not crushed. On the left side of the butt, he says, we're perplexed and I'm so confused. I don't know what to do. But on the right side of the butt, but at least we're not in despair. And then on the left side of the butt, he says, we're persecuted. We're persecuted. But on the right side of the butt, he says, but we're not abandoned. On the left side of the butt, he says, we were struck down. But on the right side, he jumps over and says, but we're not destroyed. And what he's saying is, depending on what side of the butt you live on will determine if you'll make it. Whew. Depending on what side of the butt you stand on, depending on what side of the butt you live on right now, will determine if you make it in life. You got to understand something right now. There are people right now who are listening to my voice who live on the left side of the butt. There are some people right now who have been going through some things and felt like throwing in the towel, who've gone through things in life, who feel like, Lord, I've been going through things time after time. I don't deserve to feel like I'm good. I'm good to people. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to feel the way I feel. And you feel like you're going through things over and over. Have you ever been there? Or it just seems like if it's not one thing, it's another? Have you ever been in that situation where it just feels like you just can't catch a break? Have you ever been there where you just felt like, Lord, every time I get above water, I feel like I'm sinking again? And what Paul is saying is, you got to hold on. You got to hold on and understand that the right side of the butt is what you should be looking at. You got to understand. You got to, don't throw in the towel right now. Don't give up. Listen, there are some people right now who are stuck on the left side of that butt. Right now. And my prayer is whoever's listening to me right now. My prayer is whoever is hearing my voice. My prayer is right now whoever is hearing what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. My prayer is that this sermon or whatever I'm speaking out of my mouth, ordained to God, that this little sermon will push your faith from the left side to the right side of that butt. From the left side to the right side of that butt. And start to understand that I'm wounded, but I'm a survivor. I'm wounded, but I'm a survivor. See, when you start looking at life like that, when you start looking at life like okay, look, I'm going to make it. I go through things in life, but I'm going to make it. You can't always look at everything that happens to you in your life as just like, I'm just going to throw in the towel. You ever meet somebody that every time they go through something, they hit the panic button? You ever meet that person in your life who they step on a tack and they got to amputate their foot? And you like, just put a Band-Aid on it. What you talking about? You got to amputate your whole foot? You got to have the attitude that, listen, this God has always given you a butt. Yeah, I didn't have no money, but I didn't go broke. Wait, that didn't make no sense. You know what I mean? Yeah, I didn't have no money, but yeah, I didn't starve. Yeah, I didn't have the best of everything, but I was never homeless. Yeah, I may not have the best of this or that, but every time I opened that refrigerator, my refrigerator was full. You got to always understand that every scenario, every situation, God has always given you a butt. But so many of us, we live on that left side of the butt. And Paul is saying, I need you to open your eyes, looking at it with your faith glasses. Stop looking at it with your carnal eyes. Stop looking at it and you look so perplexed and you're overwhelmed. You got to start looking at things on the right side of the butt. Yeah. Some things happened in my life. Let me give you an example. So I was dealing with my family. I got some family members that were dealing with some serious jail time, right? And at the time, many years ago, we had this issue and they were like really stressed out. They were really tripping And I said, hey, I want y'all to think about something. Yeah, we're going to miss my cousin. We're going to miss being in his presence. We're going to miss all those things. But there's a release date. We're not visiting him at a morgue. See, the lifestyle that you were living, the lifestyle that he was living, there was a time that there was a possibility that my auntie or my grandmother or his father would wake up to a phone call that you need to come identify a body. I looked at my family and I let them know, you stop living on that left side of that butt. I know that we're frustrated and upset because the verdict didn't go in our way, but God has a plan. And although he's gone and although that you're not able to see him when you want, there's a release date. He can still write you. You can still see him. You're not visiting a grave or a morgue to go see him. There's a release date. I need you to start looking on the right side of the butt. But so many of us, we stick on that left side of the butt and we go into depression and we're sad and we don't understand why this has happened, but we don't see that there's the right side of that butt. That the full totality of the life that we were living or whatever we're doing, that God has never kept us. So many times we look at things and we say to ourselves, have you ever seen somebody get into a really bad accident and you look at that car and somebody's complaining about the car, complaining about what's going on, and you look at that car and you're like, do you realize you walked away from that car without a scratch? So what? You got to catch the bus to get to work now for the next 3 months. Your life is, you got your life. That's living on the right side of the butt. My question to you is, what side do you live on? What side of the butt do you live on? Do you live on the left side? Or is your faith going to push you to the right side? We start to look at things different. Let me tell you something. There was a player, you might know him, played basketball, pretty good, by the name of Michael Jordan. Freshman year, Michael Jordan got cut from his basketball team. Freshman year in high school, Michael Jordan got cut. Michael Jordan was told by his coach that he was no good. He was told by his coach, you don't have the skill. We're talking about Michael Jordan, if not arguably the greatest player to ever play the game. What if Michael Jordan would have stayed on the left side of that butt? What if Michael Jordan would have listened to the naysayers, would have listened to what his coach said? He would have fell into depression and never picked up a ball again, never shot a ball again. We wouldn't have Kobe. We wouldn't have LeBron. We wouldn't have any of these Kevin Durant, any of these great players if Michael Jordan, we wouldn't have Jordan basketball shoes. You wouldn't even know. The number 23 wouldn't even hold a significance in anybody's life. Some of y'all probably got Jordans on right now. Watching me. I mean, you got Jordans in your closet. Michael Jordan is a household name. None of that would have happened if Michael Jordan would have stayed on the left side of the butt. What are you missing out on because you're choosing to stay on the left side of that butt? What greatness has God called you to, but because you're staying on the left side of that butt, no one will ever know your name? Michael Jordan would have never even been known. We would have never, can you imagine life without knowing who Michael Jordan is? Really? This is, if he would have decided if he would have stayed on the left side and there was no Jordan, what would basketball be? What would this be right now? Any of my basketball fans that really understand the significance of that. If Jordan would have stayed on the left side of the butt. I'm challenging you today that you could survive whatever life throws at you if you learn to live on the right side of the butt. If you learn to live on the right side of the butt, you can survive anything that life throws at you. Because you start to see and you start to understand that you could start having this faith that is understanding that there's more to come. It's not just this little thing or just there's more to come. See, the problem is you have the type of faith that's like an appetizer versus a sample. Thank you, Holy Spirit. See, I don't want that sample faith. I want that appetizer faith. And you're saying, Pastor, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? You got to have the type of faith that's not like a sample, but you want like an appetizer. You know what a sample is, right? A sample is something you go through and go to Costco or Sam's Club, and they got these samples of a food out, right? And what they do is they give you a little taste of it. You taste it, and once you taste it, you get on your mouth. They tell you to move along. Go move along. Ain't no more here. An appetizer is something that you sit down with to get your palate wet, right? But you eat the appetizer and you don't get up and leave once your appetizer is over, because you know what the chef has preparing for you is in the back waiting to come out. So when you have that type of appetizer type of faith, what you know is even after you eat at the appetizer, you don't get up and walk away from the table, because you know that what you have ordered and what is being prepared for you is coming. Whoo! Do you got that appetizer type of faith? Or are you still walking around here with that sample type of faith? I don't know about you, but I'm moving towards that appetizer type of faith, where I know that even though it takes a little bit of time once my appetizer is over, even though I'm done with my appetizer after I eat it, I know that I know what I've ordered, that the man in the back is preparing what's for me. God is preparing what's for you. You just got to stay on the right side of that faith. You got to stay on the right side of that butt and understand that even though you're wounded, I'm a soldier. Are you a soldier? I'm a wounded soldier. Paul is saying, listen. I've been going through some things. I've been hard pressed. Have you all been going through some things? There's been some things that you're going through, and God is saying, listen, I just need you to understand that I'm working on you. I got some things I'm doing. I'm doing this for a reason. I got some things in your life that I'm bubbling up, and I need you to know. See, when you got to have that type of faith. Like when my mom, when I was young, my mom bought me this punching bag, and it had my favorite WWE character, WWF character at the time, wrestling character. It was the Undertaker on it, and I never understood it because it was kind of strange. This character that I had, this punching bag I had. I don't know what was at the bottom of the punching bag, but no matter what you did, you could punch it, you could knock it, it would start to lean over and rock, but it always found its way back up, because whatever was inside of that punching bag always made its way back up. It's even back in the day, my mom told me about some things she used to play with called Weeble Wobble, but it don't fall over, that you can knock Weeble Wobble, you can make it fall, you can make it tilt, you can make it, no matter what you did, whatever what was inside of that thing always made it come back up. The problem is we're living on the left side of it, and we don't want to live on the left side no more. Is there anybody out there right now that can lift their hand and say, even sitting where you are, walking where you are, listening where you are, that I am no longer going to live on the left side of that butt, but I'm moving to the right. I'm moving to the right side of that butt. I'm moving to the right side of that, because I understand that no matter what, I've been knocked down by life, I've been shaken, but what's inside of me always has me rise up again. Always has me rise up again. And Paul shows us there's a union between what we go through and the reason why we go through it. And the Bible says that we go through it so that we can identify the suffering in Jesus Christ. So what he's saying is, like, there's a reason for our suffering. There's a reason for our pain. There's a reason for our issues. And the Bible's saying that you got to understand something. You got to learn to connect your so that's. You got to learn to connect your so that's. The Bible's saying that I'm going through this so that I can go through that, right? Like I'm going through hell. I'm going through situations. I'm going through foreclosure. I'm going through whatever it is so that what? I want you to fill in your so that's. I went through a rocky relationship so that God can bring somebody into my life that shows me and loves me the way I'm supposed to do. I'm going through foreclosure so that God can move me to the next city where I'm supposed to be. I'm going through this health issue so that I was able to minister to the doctor. Maybe God has put you in a situation where your finances are low so that he can show you he's a provider. Maybe God has put you in a situation with your children so that he can show you that he's able. I'm here to tell you right now that if you don't learn to connect your so that you're not just going through pain for no reason, that you'll think that God is just cruel and harsh and rule, but there's a purpose for my pain. When you start to understand and live on the right side of the butt, you'll start to understand that I'm going through what I'm going through, not for just because God is cruel and don't care, but there's a reason for my pain and there's a purpose for my pain. Have you found out your so that? Have you understood what your so that is? Listen to this. Everybody that knows my story, knows my testimony, knows anything about me, that I've lost 246 pounds and counting, right? I'm not trying to lose more weight, but just to explain it, 246 pounds, right? I got the will to go to the gym. I got the will. Like, listen, when I was going to the gym, I'm going to be honest with you, I hate going to the gym. I didn't like it. Getting on the treadmill, running, my calves start to burn, my shins start to hurt, my back was bothering me, but I got the will to go to the gym. I didn't go to the gym for the pain, but I was willing to endure the pain. But because I was going to the gym for my so that. I was going to the gym so that I can walk my daughters down the aisle. I was going to the gym so that I could be there for my wife and my children and be healthy. So I didn't go for the pain. I didn't do it for the pain. I did it for my so that. And sometimes to get to your so that, you got to go through a little bit of pain. Whew. Whew. In order to get to your so that's, you got to go through a little bit of pain. Listen, there's some people out there right now. I want you to think about this, right? You're sitting, listening to me with the love of your life. The love of your life. Whoever your boo is right next to you. Whoever that is. You wouldn't be able to appreciate whoever that boo is next to you if you didn't go through some hell with somebody else. How can you appreciate good if you've never had bad? How can you truly say this person that God has sent me is truly God sent unless you didn't go through hell? So, Pastor, what you're saying is, I had to go through pain. I had to go through hell. I had to go through a terrible relationship so that I can really see that God blessed me with this man or woman in my life. So, man or woman, I'm speaking about you. You the blessing. Make sure you send me a little shout out because I just hooked you up. You know what I mean? I had to go through pain. I had to go through those things so that I could understand. Listen, I had to go through hell and hot water, right? Hell and hot water. So that New Life Christian Ministry can stand before each and every one of you and declare and decree that we're real people serving a real God. I had to go through it. I didn't understand why I had to go through what I went through. I stood tall. I did the right thing. We got talked about. We got persecuted against. It was so much. So that New Life Christian Ministry could be born. I thank God for each and every person, every prayer, everything. I want you to know right now that's very important. When Paul was saying that he has been going through some things, let me just say this and I'm done. I'm not going to be too much longer. Let me say this and I'm done. Paul was like a Harlem Globetrotter, the MVP of Christ, right? He is like one of the I guess you could say like the MVP, right? Like he's like one of the people you speak about when you talk about, Christianity, right? If Paul goes through things, who are we? Sometimes we get into this place because I'm guilty of it. I'm right here. I'm gonna be honest. We get into this place where we feel like we don't have to go through nothing. We feel like once we accept Christ, we're exempt from going through troubles and heartache and pain. And you wish, if I could be real, we wish that when you accept Christ in your life, you get exempt from going through anything. But I'm here to challenge you and tell you the truth. The truth is, once you accept Christ, it seems like things get harder. It seems like the enemy throws more at you. It seems like you get put in situations of patience. It seems like you get put in places to trust God even more, and God puts you in situations that you didn't really want to be in, but that's the only way for you to trust Him. I want to explain something to you real quick, and I want you to hear me. Look at me and hear me very clearly. The only way to make it through this walk, the only way to get through it, is you got to learn to live on the right side of that butt. You got to learn to understand that you're going through something, but God has always given you a butt. That whatever the situation that you're in right now, and whatever you have gone through, and you look back over the totality of your life, you look back over everything you've been through, God has always kept you from the worst case scenario. Think about it. Every situation you've been in, everything you've been through, God has always kept you from the could have. Not saying you didn't get wounded. Not saying that you didn't get hurt. But you survived. Wounded, but a survivor. I thank each and every one of you for joining us this Sunday. I told you I wouldn't be before you long. I'm super excited for what's to come. I'm super excited for returning to church. Thank you for tuning in. Continue to share these videos, please. Like them. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. I love you. Thank you again. And again, that girl was good singing that praise and worship. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, your Sunday. Have a good day.